All right, welcome back. Now you've got a little bit of the background on this mysterious pendant, and Jennifer Johnson live in Fairport with a man trying to help solve the mystery of this object found down south. What are they talking about? What are they saying now, Jen?
Well, let me just first introduce you. This is Stephen Walker. We are in Packett's Landing here in Fairport, and he owns Walker Metalsmiths. You can see the shop. Specializes in Celtic jewelry, and not only specializes, but literally he's the one who wrote the book about it. Here is new out in hardcover. So when you saw that mystery unfold there in the Everglades, and someone said, all right, maybe it's Celtic jewelry. How can we, get some information to help maybe track down some answers? They found the book. They found Stephen up here now in Fairport, and here you are.
Well, there's some things about this, Jennifer, that look sort of Celtic. It's a cross and a circle, and that's, most people immediately say that's a Celtic cross. And this sort of pattern around the outside, these little leaves, looks like the Celtic tree of life pattern. But that's not exclusively Celtic. A lot of other, Christian iconography, art traditions have that. It's high carat gold. It's precious stones in modern historical Celtic jewelry. That's not too common until fairly recently. In fact, too recently for this to be. Okay. Here's a piece that I made that's diamonds and high carat gold, but I made that like 3 years ago. So, but typically a Celtic cross is, like a Latin cross with a longer shaft, but sometimes they can be, equal armed. And, but this, a lot of things about this, say Eastern, Byzantine, Russian perhaps. It's very well made. It's very interesting. So
there's that history part of it, but then there's also the metals that you know very well. And someone might say, well, wait a minute, couldn't anyone have just lost this at any time that he came across it? It's in that debris field of the plane crashes, but you've been able to look at some evidence recently.
Yeah, yesterday I was at Alfred University, and Jerry Wynick put this in the, see if I can say it, the energy dispersive spectroscopy
I'll take your word for
gadget. And we were taking samples of it. There's nothing especially strange in the body of the metal. Like there's no antimony or beryllium or anything. It's pretty much gold, and from 80-some to 95% gold, depending on where you test it. And there's reasons why it might be inconsistent from one spot to the other.
But you did, actually, I'm going to cut you off just a second, because there is some other stuff in here that you found that you said, you know what, this is from a plane crash. And you guys are closer and closer to solving maybe who this belonged to. We're going to stop for now. We're going to have more coming up in about 15 minutes or so. But for now, take a look. Here it is, what we've talked about for so long. More answers coming up in about 15 minutes here on Rochester CW.
All right, let's go out to Jennifer Johnson. She is live in Fairport and kind of trying to solve a mystery this morning. Jennifer, for our viewers just joining us, why don't you get us caught up to date on the mystery we're solving before we get to our interview?
All right, Cliff Notes version, this beautiful piece of jewelry found in the Everglades recently. Question, was it from a plane crash, potentially the 1996 ValueJet plane crash? And now there's an effort to find out, who it belonged to and maybe return it to the family. Stephen Walker is a Celtic jewelry expert. This piece has now been sent up here to his shop here in Fairport, hoping he can provide some clues. You got some more information yesterday about what's been found in this.
Yes. Well, we went to Alfred University where they... in the material science lab, they looked at this with energy dispersion spectroscopy equipment. And on the back here, there's a part that is dark, and that dark bit is contaminated. Other metals melted into it. There's chromium, iron, and significantly titanium. Okay. And titanium is quite common in aircraft. That's tending to make us think it's that it's from the plane rather than some other source. But out there in all this vast wilderness of the Everglades, what are the chances of it being there in the debris field of an air crash if it's from something else?
So knowing that now, you all have reached out to a group that's working with the families of the people who are on this plane.
Yes, it's the National Air Disaster Alliance, and they have a complete mailing list of all the families of the survivors of the ValueJet crash, and they're going to, I think yesterday they sent pictures of this out and an explanation of what's going on, and I'm hoping that we can have, because Mark Rubenstein, who found it, is very anxious to get it back to the family of whoever it belonged to, and I'm, kind of signed on as a consultant to help him with it. So
you said you hear, running this shop and another shop too in Allegheny County, but you said this has really become your obsession to get this solved.
it is. My wife, who's my business manager, says we've got to get this done so I can get back to work and be a jeweler again. So
That's got to be neat, though, to think that, potentially within a week this might be back to a family who lost someone so horrifically, a little sort of peace to maybe bring them some comfort.
Well, the woman from the Air Disaster Alliance there, she said that one of the families, because no bodies were recovered from the Value jet crash, but one of the bodies, all the family got was the button off their son's Army uniform. And that was, means the world to them to have even that. And, there's similar stories. So we're hoping that we can, someone will find some comfort in this if we can get it to them.
Well, you've done a great job of keeping us updated. So if anything new does happen, I hope you'll let us know.
Absolutely.
And in the meantime, if you're interested, come on down here, Packett's Landing here in Fairport, a shop with some beautiful work. We've been looking at some other work, but this is some work that Stephen has done, and it is beautiful. And, of course, the book, too. Congratulations on that. That's how they brought you into this project, too. They found the book and realized you knew so much, and here you are in the middle of effort. Nice getting to know you, and you'll keep us updated.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks. Evan, back to you.
Jennifer, thank you very much. And coming up next, Soul Plate.